Although real events, the social network was actually based on Ben Mesrich's 2009 book entitled The Accidental Billionaires, the founding of Facebook, a tale of sex, money, genius, and betrayal. I don't think the title was long enough.
I do.
Eduardo Saverin helped with the research and consultations behind the book, but Mark Zuckerberg himself had no communications with him during the process and had no involvement whatsoever.
It's not a coincidence.
The movie stars everybody's favourite Lex Luthor as Mark Zuckerberg, a 19-year-old Harvard student who gets his ass dumped before proceeding to plaster the internet with hate about the person who's upset him. I can't relate. He then hacks the university servers to create a website allowing students to rate the hotness of female classmates. You know, Facebook is kind of creepy now that they're explaining it like this. He gets disciplined, but the site attracts the attention of these two twin UFC fighters, the Winklevosses, sound like German sex offenders.
It's good, funny, never heard that before.
Who asked for his help to develop a new social networking website exclusive to students based around dating and will definitely not be anything like MySpace. Remember MySpace?
What's that?
Mark agrees, but then has a better idea, eventually leading to the Facebook we all know and love, dragging his best friend Eduardo, played by everybody's favourite Spider-Man, in as co-founder. At a conference on June 2nd, 2010, the host, Kara Swisher, actually expressed her unhappiness with the film being based on Zuckerberg, and she said this straight to his face. Mark himself actually replied, "I just wish that nobody made a movie on me while I was still alive. The film is mostly fiction. This is my life, so I know it's not so dramatic." He also claimed the picture portrayed his motivations inaccurately. It was never about meeting girls, he just enjoyed building things, but he did confess, "The movie did correctly depict my real life wardrobe. It's interesting the stuff they focused on getting right, like every single shirt and fleece that they had in the movie is actually a shirt or fleece that I own. It's a dramatization of history. It's interesting to see my past rewritten in a way that emphasizes things that didn't matter, like the Winklevosses, who I've still never even met and had no part in the work that we did to create the site over the past 6 years, and it leaves out things that really did, like the many other people in our lives at the time who supported us in innumerable ways. A lot of exciting things happened in 2004, but mostly we just worked a lot and stressed out about things. The version in the trailer seems a lot more exciting, so I'm just going to choose to remember that we drank ourselves silly and had a lot of sex with co-eds. The plot of the book and script unabashedly attacked Zuckerberg, but I actually felt like a lot of his positive qualities come out truthfully in the trailer. At the end of the day, they cannot help but portray him as the driven, forward-thinking genius that he is.
I do remember you saying that.
Facebook's chief operating officer Sheryl Sandberg saw the film and said it was very Hollywood, mainly fiction, and stated, "In real life, Mark was just sitting around with his friends in front of his computer ordering pizza. Who wants to go see that for 2 hours?"
I doubt it.
A movie about how Facebook was made sounds pretty fucking boring. Like, how do you make an interesting feature-length movie based on that? But thankfully, I was pleasantly surprised. This movie took a concept that sounds extremely dull on paper and apparently would have been incredibly dull if they stuck to the actual real-life events and dramatized it to create an, in my opinion, interesting piece of cinema. I found the story fascinating, and not once in its 120-minute running time did I find myself ever growing bored. Although Zuckerberg comes across as an arsehole during the movie, I like that it's always left up to the viewer's interpretation. Sure, he screwed Eduardo over, but Eduardo did close the bank accounts. But then again, Mark and Sean were getting closer. Was he wrong in closing them before speaking to Mark about it first? Was Mark wrong in retaliating before discussing it with Eduardo first? There's no concrete answer and it's left open, which I really like. There's no black and white, right and wrong in this story.
You write your snide bullshit from a dark room because that's what the angry do nowadays.
But he's very, very real. Despite some of his actions, he defends Eduardo even when he's being sued by the guy. He always sticks up for him. He always persists on keeping Facebook free and not monetizing it no matter how successful it becomes. So he's an asshole, but he's a humble asshole.
Sean Parker says, "Fuck you."
The movie does a great job showing the pure genius of Mark Zuckerberg, and Jesse Eisenberg nails this performance perfectly. Every time he has to be cocky and shows off his intellect, it's hilarious and delivered magnificently.
You don't think I deserve your attention?
I think if your clients want to sit on my shoulders and call themselves tall, they have a right to give it a try, but there's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing. Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
You know Shia LaBeouf was originally offered the part, and he turned it down. That's one way to ruin your movie. But it's weird, for a movie that focuses so much on showing genius intellect.
How many shares of stock will I own?
1,328,334. That represents a 34.4% ownership share.
34.4.
You should know that Mark has already taken his percentage from 60 down to 51.
Oh.
51.
Dustin Moskowitz owns 6.81%.
6.81.
Sean Parker, 6.47%.
6.47.
And Peter Thiel, 7%.
7. That's 105.68%. And at the end, they claim Mark Zuckerberg was the youngest billionaire in the world, but that title actually belongs to
Dustin Moskowitz,
who is 8 days younger.
That's good. You should be proud of that right there.
Jesse Eisenberg claimed that he has OCD in real life, so learning to talk and act in this manner, going against all of his natural instincts, was the absolute hardest thing he's ever had to do as an actor, but boy does it pay off. This, in my mind, is his greatest performance. It's so good, and if you did not know any better, you'd think he was the real Mark Zuckerberg.
You ever end up seeing the film, the Social Network?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Oh, thanks. What did you think?
It was interesting.
He did, however, have an issue with the swimming pool scene where he films his mates jumping in. Apparently, in real life, Mark actually joined in, but Jesse Eisenberg admitted he couldn't imagine Zuckerberg having that much fun. Luckily, that part was scrapped from the script anyway, and he just watched. The dialogue is so well written, human, intelligent, and incredibly well structured on all fronts, not just Mark's, and the screenplay is astoundingly good. Armie Hammer actually played both twins, with Josh Pence as a body double at times, with CGI playing a big part. Andrew Garfield is always incredible and nails this performance. He originally auditioned for the role of Mark, but the director felt he would have been much better suited for Eduardo, looking and coming across much more vulnerable.
He's wired in.
Is he?
Yes.
How about now? You still wired in?
And Justin Timberlake, I think, doesn't get nearly enough credit as a tremendous actor. He is fantastic and is the only one who actually met his real-life counterpart in real life before shooting, which the director actually forbade, but he did so years earlier before the film's production even began. The movie does show just how weird Facebook can be sometimes and portrays just how much it's really consumed our lives.
Why does your status say single on your Facebook page? What? Why does your relationship status say single on your Facebook page?
I was single when I set up the page.
And you just never bothered to change it?
The picture shows every part of Facebook's creation, from the pictures, the wall, the relationship status, and it gives such a great and inspirational message. The movie takes place during the lawsuits with fast-paced editing from flashbacks to the present day, and I really like that style, and I feel it benefits the film more to go that route. I think it's a great story that molds the overall narrative with the subplots of drama, love, jealousy, betrayal all together perfectly. Sure, they changed and skewed facts from real-life events, but that happens when adapting to a movie. You need to dramatize them, or you'll just be watching a teenager at a laptop for 2 hours, and the movie did a great job exaggerating and expanding real-life events to make them more cinematic. The film ends with Mark refreshing the page, and I like that it shows, despite all of his success and fame, he still hung up on that one girl he let go. And it shows, has Facebook really connected us all together, or has it just made us all even more alone? Honestly, an amazing movie that I expected to really suck. A great film with lots of twists and turns, and definitely worth your time.